Hi friends, welcome to the Shits and Gigs podcast where we keep the vibe high, the humor gets raunchy, and things get spicy when we talk about food. I'm your host Meg Davis, and we are here tonight for an episode of Bath Bombz, and let's just clap it up and take a moment of silence. This is our 50th episode, and for that I am very grateful. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in thus far. I have been having so much fun bumping into you guys that are watching in person, usually at Elevated because where else am I out in public? And thank you guys, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, for just leaning into this creative venture that I'm leaning into this year. I started back in December. In case you haven't caught on to the pattern yet, I do the Bath Bombz episodes. They drop every Thursday at 7 p.m. And then my guest episodes, unless I need to finagle the schedule a little bit, they are bi-weekly, uploaded on Wednesdays. Again, unless if we need a reschedule because something happens with the guest's routine, or maybe I need to reschedule for some reason. But otherwise, that's the every other Wednesday and every single Thursday for a quick Bath Bombz fix. But yeah, things are feeling really aligned. People are giving great feedback, which makes me feel awesome. And I mean, every episode, my goal is to just consider how I can be the most authentic self for you guys, or my most authentic self, not that was kind of a weird way to say that. But yeah, just being and embracing my authenticity, my weirdness, and maybe talking about things just at a deeper level, like creating a safe space for people to think bigger and maybe have creative opinion without it being a space where you're judged for your big picture thinking, you know what I mean? So I mean, that is the goal. So if there's any trolls on the page, you will get deleted. I'll find a way to get you kicked out of the chat in the channel, because that's not what we're creating here. I'm creating this safe space where people can dream big, think big, learn how to truly live in a healthy way, and not in a stereotypical healthy way, not like your green beans and your chicken and your rice every day, and you're going for a 30-mile bike ride 5 times a week, and these intense things, just intentionally living with purpose of allowing your body to function at its most optimal self. You know what I mean? That's the type of living that people need to lean into. You're not just on a diet. You have this one body, and if you're feeding it trash, you're ruining your experience. You're degrading the experience that you could be having in this lifetime. And that's what it comes down to for me, is that was the huge wake-up call. When I had that realization, time is flying, guys. The grays are graying. I have proud tinsel highlights, and I'm just embracing that. And I mean, you dream about being a mom, and then it fucking happens, and you're like, whoa. First off, where am I, and how did I get here? And you just can't even, I don't want to say I forget I'm a parent sometimes, but it's you almost are dissociated when they go to bed, because it just is so weird. You're finally here, you're at this point in your life that you think about for your whole life before it happens. And it's just so crazy. Where was I going with this? Oh boy, already on rants, guys. I guess I'll just move on. But I was going to ask if anyone has any big picture thoughts that they've been thinking on, and they would like me to maybe just feature on a Bath Bombz, or kind of just get my feels on whatever you're thinking about. Feel free to message me ideas on Instagram at megdavis.healthcoach. And huge shout out to all of my guests so far. I love and appreciate all of you for taking the time. Thank you for being who you are, because if you were asked on the show, I most likely saw that you had some type of unique talent that you're leaning into, or maybe it needs to be highlighted more profoundly in your life, because you're so talented and you're amazing. So thank you to all my guests if you've been on. Yeah, that's why I asked you, if you were wondering. Yeah, you're super talented, and you're all super awesome, and you all have such special gifts that you're offering this world. So keep being you, keep leaning into your passion and doing big things. So thank you to our 20 guests that I've had on the show so far. And my main mission with the channel moving forward, as far as right now and where I'm at, is to provide that safe space for people to think big, lean into their passions, and laugh your ass off, hopefully, at least the majority of the time. Sometimes we get deep on these bath bombs and we get in our feels, but I hope at least once during an episode you crack a smile, because everyone deserves to smile at least once a day. And yeah, and I also have this huge vision of becoming an opportunity for connection and like a connection platform for people. So meaning like I'm really enjoying my guest episodes, kind of embracing people who are talented in some way or have some exponential knowledge on a certain topic, and maybe their gifts and talents are needed by someone who's watching. So like that's the type of connections that I want. Like these people are so talented, and I believe that we all have talents for a reason, and that's why we all need to like lean in and embrace them, because we are all so unique and beautiful in our own way. And it's crazy how easy it is to just suppress your magic, you know what I mean? Because our life is just so intense nowadays, guys. We're living in a very intense world that requires you to fucking show up, or you're literally homeless. Like, it's very intense, and it's not easy to live in our country right now. It really isn't, at least in my opinion. I don't know how everyone else is feeling. I mean, I don't watch the news, but it doesn't sound like it's going great based on the feedback that I hear. So I feel like maybe a lot of people are feeling that weight and that heaviness that is what it is right now for the United States, for a lot of people. So yeah, I'm looking to connect people and create opportunity and be that space that people look for, I don't know, things or knowledge that they crave and need to like truly live in a healthy way. And to just embrace your creativity. Wow, that was a very long intro to our topic tonight. To finish up celebrating 50 episodes, I'm just going to give my top 3 takeaways so far from starting a podcast. So one of the biggest things that I was told right off the bat is consistency. So that's why I've been super committed to a schedule as far as episode uploads and everything. With the every single week I do a Bath Bombz, and then bi-weekly I do a guest episode. So I think that has been huge. And although I don't honestly know if it's slow to grow. I don't know the typical trajectory of a podcast with first starting out. I do know a lot of successful podcasters and public figures out there that it takes years to get to their level. So I think I am at a pretty great pace for where I'm at, less than a year in. So I think consistency is huge for like the growth that I've already had in just the last couple months. And then authenticity is huge. I don't know. I just feel like why be anyone but yourself at the end of the day when it comes down to it. And I mean, you just have to be mindful of the world. Like obviously be authentic and share your opinion, but you do have to be mindful of the world around you, because like I said, it's a little shaky around here. So you can't be so unhinged to the point where you're offensive, which... Am I going to go here? I mean, everyone's offended nowadays. You got to be really careful. Everyone's offended. So just be a good person. Be you. As long as you have good intentions, I'm sure that will shine through, as long as you're being yourself. So authenticity, and then just share passionately. Like, are you doing this just to do it, or are you doing it because it excites you? So if it excites you, share it with people. And if you're just doing this because you want to maybe, I don't know, get comfortable in front of a camera or something, like don't promote it. But like if you're here to connect with people and create that community or opportunity for either yourself or others, like you got to kind of talk to people about it. You can't just assume that it's going to grow. You have to share it with passion and enthusiasm. So those are my top 3 takeaways so far with the podcast. If anyone's been itching to dip their toes into this journey themselves. And I mean, I'm telling you guys, this was like a totally random thing for me. I honestly don't even know how I came up with the idea of a podcast. That and the recipe subscription that I created, Not So Average Prep, available on Patreon. I started those both around the same time. I know at the time, like, financials were really tough. So, like, I was looking for opportunity to, I guess, lean into what I was already doing. So when I was getting transitioned back to work, like, my health coaching business had really slowed down. And although that was expected with being on maternity leave and everything, it was still feeling too tight. So I was like, okay, how can I embrace my knowledge and skills that I already have and that I'm already passionate about, and provide some other type of way or funnel to share that with other people? And that's when my friend Jess, actually, she's going to be on the next guest episode after this Bath Bombz. She has been my friend for, I want to say it was, how long have I been in my life? 8 years now. And we just have such an incredible, like, synergistic friendship and business partnership. We have just gotten to a place where in life and in business, we can literally talk about anything. And it's just a straightforward, honest conversation. We go over pros and cons of the whatever's happening, and we just figure it the fuck out together. And she's just like one of those ride or die bitches for me. But anyways, because she's that person for me, I was obviously talking to her. We were going through hard times, and she was just helping me brainstorm ideas. And I was telling her about how Josh and I have been trying out this meal prep for, like, when I came back to work and everything. And we've been having a lot of fun creating the recipes. And, like, I was kind of telling her, like, I had the idea of, like, just sharing these recipes or, like, things that we're doing for meal prep. And she's like, why don't you look into creating a subscription? So that's kind of how the Not So Average Prep happened. And then I'm going to have to really think about how the podcast came up, because I know my initial purpose was to kind of just have something, I think, fun to do where I could, like, be myself, and kind of just, like, lean into, like, I'm big on journaling, and journaling hasn't been a thing I've been able to reincorporate in my routine. But, like, these Bath Bombz episodes have kind of imitated, like, what journaling did for my heart and soul and my well-being. So thanks again for listening for that, because you're helping my mental health by having these fun conversations with essentially myself, but with you every single week. And so yeah, I think that the podcast initially was just meant to be like a fun funnel for my creativity, but also obviously, since I have creative control, I can use it as a space to funnel to my other businesses, like my one-on-one macro coaching and the recipe membership. So yeah, I think that's where the podcast came out. But anyways, I've only been doing this for a couple months. It's been so fun. Thank you. Let's get into the random stuff for this week. I had a casual brainstorm on the way to work today, or not today, sorry, the other day, about our brains. Have you ever really thought about our brains and how that all works? Like, we're a chemical reaction, sperm and the egg react, they implant, then you transform from a poppy seed size thing to a living being, and then you evolutionize your entire first year to this, like, actual human, and you're not just like a little squirrel thing anymore. And while this is all happening, there's like this thing in your head that's developing so that you are able to be aware and, like, know what you're doing. Like, it's so weird. Like, who figures this shit out? How are we here? Like, if you think about this for 1 minute, it, like, really trips you out, whether you're high or not. Like, our brains are wild. There's synapses, there's connections, and, like, your brain has these, like, molecular folders, I guess you could call them. So, like, common knowledge is in the similar spots in your brain. But, like, how is that happening? Who figured this out? I swear to God, I will take this to the grave. Anyone that figured this shit out is aliens. They are not normal humans, because who thinks to look into this shit? Who looks at this, like, fleshy pink object and says, this is the part of the brain that controls whatever. Obviously they did tests. They probably probed it in some, like an eyeball, like opened or something when they touched it. And they're like, oh, this is the occipital lobe. But like, what is our brain? It's so weird. Fun facts. I'm going to show off my little anatomy knowledge fun facts. I went to college to be a speech pathologist, and I got a bachelor's in human services. I was all set to go to grad school for that. And then in that process, I discovered health coaching, and I was juggling 4 other jobs at the time. So I ended up technically dropping out of grad school because I just chose not to continue that path, because I was in a really great opportunity in a clinic after school. And I don't know, I just was really fascinated by how everything worked, I think, with speech and language, but I was just not connecting to the therapy aspect of it, like actually doing the therapy. I was really good at it. I will give myself credit for that. Like, I definitely gave it a great try. I really leaned in. I was getting fantastic feedback. The work environment was slightly toxic. However, I've seriously considered whether that was the reason I dropped out, and it was not. So that made me feel good about that choice. And I mean, I love where I'm at today, even if not every day is easy. Entrepreneurism, I think I'm just an entrepreneur at heart, and I know I'm just like in the right spot at the right time. And it's just one of those things that just takes time to like grow. But anyways, here's some fun facts about brains. There's like synapses and neurons. Those are like those connections and like where knowledge, I guess you could say, is stored in your brain. Like, if that's the right way to say that, who knows? And then there's these pathways that allow things to communicate in your brain. So like these like firing pathways, they're like little chemical reactions. And your brain is wired bilaterally. So that's why if like someone has a stroke on the left side of their brain, the right side of their body is often numb or affected. So interesting little tidbits, nothing crazy. So yeah, brains are wild. And one realization that I've been like really passionate about is that like we are all just every day accepting that we are a part of this unexpected and unexpected and open-ended experience, that we just have no clue what's coming next. Isn't that so crazy? Like, as intense and crazy as our brains are, we can't predict how our life is going to turn out based on just like how we're showing up for our bodies. Like, it is honestly very scary. There's been a lot of people in my age group recently that are pretty healthy and mindful of their lifestyle, and they're getting these very unfortunate cancer diagnoses and crazy health conditions, and I'm just like, no one is safe, and it's just, you just don't know. So one thing I will say though, it is very easy in our fast-paced society to ignore symptoms. I always say headaches, dry mouth, knee or joint pain, what else? I don't know, acne. All of these things are symptoms and signs that something is out of balance in your body. Indigestion, huge one for people. So your brain is trying to make you aware that something is wrong. So listen to this powerful object that we all have access to, and just choose to ignore sometimes, because life is crazy, life is busy, and it's hard to prioritize ourselves sometimes, myself included. However, you got to pay attention to that stuff, and maybe this can be your sign to really just think about your brain and think about what it's trying to tell you. Like, where's your emotions at? Like, what level are you at? Are you a 1? Are you feeling mellow and relaxed? Or are you like a 9 teetering 10, like on edge of like a full-blown panic attack? Because like self-checks are also a huge thing that you can implement in your day that can bring a lot of peace of mind and just mindfulness into your life when it comes to embracing like what our brain is capable of. Also, we are in complete control of our thoughts. We might not have control of the thought coming on. However, how you choose to react and embrace that thought is completely within your control, with training your mind and learning those tools and tidbits to do that. And it's just so crazy when you take the time and the energy to do that. It's like you vibrate and operate at a whole different level. It's just nuts. All right, I don't know. You just got to learn how to be intentional with your internal conversation, I think is what it comes down to. I think that's what it comes down to, is just like embracing that internal conversation and embracing what we have access to with these crazy brains of ours and what they're capable of. We definitely have untapped talent when it comes to tapping into the capabilities of our brains. So, all right, guys, that was a little random at the end, but hope you had some fun tonight thinking big about brains and celebrating our 50th episode. Thanks for tuning in so far, and so blessed for you all. Here is our wellness mocktail of the week. We're doing Blue Hawaii. This one has been a huge hit. It was super hot here in Rhode Island all week long, so everyone was loving this fruity and refreshing flavor. For this one, you need an orange liftoff, a half teaspoon of pineapple drink mix, 1 scoop of the Herbalife Strawberry Lemonade Collagen, and then half a teaspoon of lemonade drink mix mixed with a 1/4 teaspoon of Blue Blast. And then you're going to mix that together, ice the cup that has everything else all the way to the top, add a little bit of water, and then top with that little mixture of Blue Blast and lemonade on top. It should be a beautiful, like, oceany blue at the top, orange on the bottom. If you use a clear cup, sorry if I didn't give that disclaimer. Super cool and refreshing vibe that everyone's been loving all week long at Elevated Nutrition. Come visit us to try it there, or message me on Instagram if you want to get the recipe at home. You can find us at Elevated 34 Nooseneck Hill Road, West Greenwich, Rhode Island, every Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 2:30, and on Saturdays, 8 to 1. Or if you want to get that hookup at home, feel free to message me on Instagram at megdavis.healthcoach. I'll talk to you guys soon. Toodles.